I want to first thank everybody for coming, whether you're a represented employee or a represented employee. This is about our future, and it's about people over politics. So thank you for coming today. First speaker I want to bring up is an employee that has sold just about every product that we make. He's been with U.S. Steel for 36 years. Our Vice President of Commercial, Rob Koch. Rob.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see you all here. As Scott said, I'm Rob Koch, and I've worked for United States Steel Corporation for 36 years. I not only have worked for this great company for a long time, but I grew up in Pittsburgh and still today live 5 minutes from the house I grew up in. Through my early years in the 1970s and 1980s, I saw new announcements week after week being made about plants closing all along the Three Rivers. Aliquippa, Ambridge, Homestead, Duquesne, the South Side, just to name a few. All parts of our great city which saw workers lose jobs because their aging plants were no longer competitive. I watched firsthand the impact of these plant closures and the near fatal destruction endured by numerous communities here. Let me tell all of you this today. We have a chance to make sure that same fate is not suffered by Braddock, Clairton, and West Mifflin, the three towns which make up our Mon Valley Works. As someone who has had a USS logo on my business card my entire career, let me tell you the facts around what makes this transaction so exciting for me and should be for everyone in this country. It's customers, it's communities, it's continuity. I've been in a customer-facing role all of my career. I still am today. And I've yet to speak with a customer that does not believe this transaction is the best possible outcome for U.S. Steel. It provides us a financially strong parent who is willing to make long-term investments here in the USA, upgrading our mills to the standards which allow us to make steel even better and greener, and do so cost-effectively so that we can compete with other countries like China. Last week, in addition to the $1.4 billion that Nippon Steel already committed to spending in our North American flat-rolled plants, they committed another $1.3 billion, including a whopping $1 billion investment here at the Mon Valley plant to upgrade or replace our 86-year-old hot strip mill here. Nobody makes that kind of investment if there is not a decades-long plan to run a facility. Our customers know that and see their future as bright with U.S. Steel, knowing that Mon Valley will be around much longer than I will, making the steel which goes into their construction, appliance, automotive, or other critical manufactured goods here in the USA. Crazy if this deal doesn't happen. This should take all the naysayers out. Just two comments I got last week from customers after that announcement was made. These are vitally important investments into the communities in which we live. A $300 million investment into U.S. Steel's largest blast furnace in Gary, Indiana, means so much for that town in northwest Indiana. And we all know how important a $1 billion investment means to the Mon Valley and to create a long-term runway for all of the jobs there, but also all of the indirect support employment that is critically dependent on keeping these plants being viable is nothing short of an enormous commitment. Our people and our communities today do not deserve to suffer the same fate like so many of the 1970s and 1980s here in the Pittsburgh region. And what do I mean about continuity? U.S. Steel has been active as long as I can remember on leveling the playing field here in the USA on important trade matters. and making sure that the trade laws of this country are upheld by using all the tools available. I personally remain extremely engaged in trade matters today, and Nippon Steel plans it to continue just that way as we always have done. They are committing massive dollars to this country and to this company, and cannot afford to let the countries who have utter disregard for fair trade, like China, who try to export their own economic woes and their unemployment problems to the United States, to wipe out U.S. Steel here in the USA. The Nippon team wants to make sure at all times that U.S. citizens located here in the USA will be the ones front and center on all trade matters moving forward once this transaction is completed. A continuity of U.S. Steel's long-running defense of our nation, our communities, and our people here in the United States. In closing, everyone needs to understand that this transaction bolsters our economic security and our manufacturing security, therefore supporting our national security. It protects our communities and enables the continuing onshoring of manufacturing back here where it belongs in the United States. It does all of that by ensuring that this 124-year-old company, which I am proud to have been my only employer in my adult life, remains around for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Very, very well said. Next, I want to bring up three of our employees from the Mon Valley, actually. Mark Yovich, Justin Calderone, and Tomtus Skich. Gentlemen. These gentlemen are Mon Valley Works employees. Have a couple words to say. Thank you, gentlemen.
How we doing today? My name's Justin Calderone. I grew up in Elizabeth Township, Pennsylvania. I'm a former USW represented employee working 14 years at Urban Works, and currently the cold mill roll shop manager. I'm going to keep this short and sweet and give my support for the Nippon purchase because my grandfathers worked at Mon Valley Works, my uncles worked at Mon Valley Works, and I support the Nippon purchase because I know generations in my family will have the option after that purchase to continue working at Mon Valley Works. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Tomtus Skich. I have 17 years with the company. I grew up in Glassport, currently reside in Elizabeth, so I've lived in the Mon Valley my entire life. I got hired as a representative employee in 2007 at Claret Works, where I worked on the old 7 and 9 battery for 2 years. In 2009, I transferred to ET, where I worked on both number 1 and number 3 cast house. I then was transferred to the BOP. 2016, I made a switch from representative to management team. Currently, I'm the process coordinator and operation at the BOP shop. US Steel has been an amazing company to work for the past 17 years. And I have been able to provide a great quality of life for me and my family. A Nippon US Steel merger guarantees the Mon Valley continues to operate with the over $1 billion investment in our integrated facilities that we desperately need. I'm very fortunate to be able to say that US Steel was my first job, and I fully intend on it being my last job. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark Yovich, and I'd first like to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak here today. I've been working for US Steel for 15 years. I was initially hired in 2009 as a representative employee. Worked 12 years as a representative employee and transitioned into a leadership role where I'm now a maintenance shift manager at the Edgar Thomson plant in Braddock. I was born and raised in North Braddock, literally 5 minutes where I now work, and went to William Hills High School. Therefore, US Steel is all I know in his home. I should also mention that I have an uncle who's worked at Edgar Thomson for 45 years and a cousin who recently hired both represented employees. I also have many other family members, friends and neighbors who have worked for U.S. Steel either in the past, present, and once this deal gets approved, many to follow in the future. I graduated from the University of Pittsburgh with a Bachelor's of Science in Psychology, and I bring this up not to talk about myself, but when I started in 2009, many people asked me, what the heck are you doing here with a psych degree? The answer is simple, and I still stand by that. U.S. Steel provided me with the greatest opportunity to have a great paying, family sustaining job, and I'm forever grateful for that. With that being said, this is one of the many reasons why this Nippon Steel U.S. Steel deal is vital. Not only for me, but for all of you. For the many generations to come, for the Mon Valley, and for Pittsburgh. Who can really think of Pittsburgh without thinking of U.S. Steel? Pittsburgh is U.S. Steel. I can honestly say that if this deal doesn't go through, I'm a little concerned for the U.S. Steel as a whole, yet alone the Mon Valley. At the same time, I'm also a little confused as to why people oppose this deal. Nippon has committed, as already mentioned, to investing $1.4 billion into all integrated represented mills. On top of that, they committed to investing another $300 million into the Gary Works, number 14 blast furnace, and another $1 billion right here at the Mon Valley Works with a new hot mill. The iconic U.S. Steel name will stay, along with corporate headquarters right here in Pittsburgh. Nippon also brings the leading edge technology in research and development, which will allow us to invest, grow, and meet all environmental requirements, which will allow us to be viable for many years to come. Basically, Nippon is willing to keep U.S. Steel, but invest and make us one of the best, biggest steel-making companies in the world, while also guaranteeing we're making U.S. Steel in America. This is extremely exciting. It would guarantee that U.S. Steel will be around for another 100 years and allow future generations to follow in our footsteps and guarantee them the same great jobs and opportunities that we have right here before us today. I think we can all agree that this is what we all want. In closing, Nippon Steel and U.S. Steel are stronger, more secure, and better together. So I'm asking all, whether represented, non-represented, union, non-union, community leaders, politicians, to come together and do the right thing and support this deal. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Friends as well. Now I want to bring up a friend of U.S. Steel, and not only personally, but has really supported us throughout all the years that I've known Sam, and I've known everything that he does for us. So I want to bring up our Allegheny County Councilman at Large. Please welcome Sanda Marco.
Thank you. As your Allegheny County Councilman at Large, the health and vitality of the entire county is important to me. And U.S. Steel and the employees, both represented and non-represented, as well as the folks who work for the servicing companies that support those facilities, are incredibly important. Many times in life, opportunity knocks only once. I don't want to see us miss this opportunity. Pittsburgh is known as the Steel City. Nippon Steel is determined to keep the steel in the Steel City. This deal is truly a win-win deal. It's good for everyone. It's good for the company, it's good for the customers, it's good for its employees, and it's good for the communities. It's good for the company because it brings a well-capitalized parent here, someone able to make the billions of dollars in investment and modernization in the plants to ensure jobs, not just for today, but for future generations. It's good for the customers because it allows U.S. Steel and this merged company to be able to make higher grade and higher quality products, as well as take advantage of the research and development, the $445 million a year that Nippon Steel spends on research and development to take and innovate and create new technologies, new products, new ways to manufacture to better compete with adversary economies like those in China. It's good for the employees because it ensures the employees have a future. You have jobs to be able to put a roof over your family's head and food on your family's plate. It's good for our communities because it ensures a stable tax base. These communities have suffered since the decline of the steel industry in the 1980s and 90s, watching 150,000 jobs go away. When I talk to elected officials in the Mon Valley, they talk about the problems they have with vacant properties, with blight, with the declining tax base. This is a lifeline to our Mon Valley. And U.S. Steel is our largest manufacturing employer, is the most important manufacturing employer that I am concerned with here, and why everyone needs to support this steel. Nippon Steel is committed, you've heard other speakers talk, $2.7 billion to help modernize and upgrade these plants. And for the folks who are concerned with air quality and health of the Mon Valley, the technology transfer that Nippon Steel will take and provide can help use hydrogen in the blast furnace process, which can reduce emissions by up to 33%. I, for the life of me, can't think of a single reason why we wouldn't want to move forward with this deal. It makes all the sense in the world from a national security perspective. It makes our supply chain more resilient. Japan is one of our strongest national allies. And again, it allows us to take and strengthen other U.S. industries to better compete with adversary economies like China. This is something that makes all of us stronger. It strengthens the Mon Valley. It strengthens our employees. It strengthens our communities. It strengthens the company, and it strengthens Allegheny County. We can't afford to miss this opportunity. We must support this investment. We must get this deal done. We must provide a future for all of you and your families. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. And thanks for your continued support. Next, I'd like to bring up Chris Kelly. Chris is another friend. He's a neighbor of the Irvin facility. Chris is the mayor of West Mifflin. Please welcome Chris Kelly.
I have lived in the Mon Valley my entire life. I was born and raised in the borough of Homestead when one of its largest plants, U.S. Steel plants, was there. And I'm looking today and I'm wondering why more people aren't pissed at the politicians using these people in the Mon Valley as pawns. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, you should be upset. And you should let them know it. I was thinking about mergers when I was here. We got here early. My high school year, we merged with our bitter enemy. Homestead merged with Munhall. In 2 years, they were a powerhouse athletic facility. Mergers work for that. I'm not comparing the mergers of U.S. Steel with Nippon. But I was also there 50 years ago as the chief of police when Homestead Works closed up. When I got out of school, most of my friends went to work in the mill because it was a guaranteed job that could sustain their families. About 20 years later, they began losing their jobs. I saw this devastation firsthand when they lost their homes. First it was their cars, then their marriage fell apart with domestics, and then drug abuse, and then suicide. I had 7 classmates that I had to respond to that either shot themselves or took overdoses to end the misery without having work. We have a chance to change that. I had an opportunity as the mayor, and the mayor's job is to try to do what's best for your community and ensure the quality of life issues. I had the opportunity to go to Follinsburg and visit one of Nippon's plants. And during that tour, I met with Mr. Ono and Mr. Muri, and I've met them several occasions. But we sat down one-on-one with the union president, the union vice president, had nothing but praise for the way the employees are treated. I talked to businesses owners that said they are survived by the merger. I talked to residents not associated with Nippon or their plant that said it's the best thing that's ever happened to their community. How anybody can see otherwise is beyond me. The politicians stood in the shadow of the Mon Valley Works opposing this site and not giving one damn about you or your future. You know, they talk about Japan. Japan is home to our 7th fleet, our naval. It's one of the largest fleets in the world, and they're based out of Japan. They're our ally. The 21,000 sailors that are there, and about 3 times that many of support personnel and family, have nothing but praise for the way they're treated. I thank you for the honor of appearing in front of you. I will do whatever I can except run. But I will do whatever in my power. And I have called the Casey, and I've called Fetterman. Fetterman lives in Braddock, and he's opposed to this. And I will do whatever I can. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor Kelly. Thank you. Next, I'd like to bring up another friend of ours from the Braddock area, Sharday Jones. Sharday is the Braddock Borough Councilwoman. We know her well, and she knows us well. Sharday, thanks for being here.
Hello, everyone. I keep hearing about the U.S. Steel, Nippon Steel potential sale and hear people say how it's bad for America. America can't sell an American-owned company to a Japanese company. Americans are all for being kind to our neighbors and lending a hand and having a global impact, but sometimes our pride gets in the way of progress and what's just. This is not about politics for me. This is about people. It's easier for higher-ups in Washington to speak about their opposition to the sale and America first, but where is Washington when it comes to the blight, economic turmoil, and desperation in my neighborhood? Speaking from experience, it's hard to think global when there's so much in my own backyard working against us. Politicians can argue about global allyship because being threatening. That's not my concern. My concern is Braddock. Yes, Mon Valley residents are described as resilient, but people shouldn't need to be resilient when they should be thriving, not just surviving. Nippon can create a partnership with U.S. Steel that would make my town a part of a global steel powerhouse with a promise of less emission and greener steel. Why settle for just being the biggest in America when you could be one of the biggest in the world? The former Standard Steel workers who are now West Virginia Nippon workers were frank about how Nippon is part of their community, building baseball fields and planning their community days. If this doesn't work out and the next offer is so low with no investment and the next company that offers, they'll just take pieces of U.S. Steel that they want. I fear my U.S. Steel plant won't survive. I call it my plant because when elected officials first got invited to the table, my concern was about the pollution. And when they said that they would hold themselves to Japanese standards, I was intrigued and hoping that we could put that in writing as green steel and community stewardship can coexist. I've had my qualms with U.S. Steel, but I know when to stand with them for what's just and what is right. A Mon Valley with no U.S. Steel might not mean much to most elected officials, but without this investment, several already poor communities lose more than just the biggest tax-paying company in the boroughs. They lose the opportunities and relationships that U.S. Steel has built. You lose the chance to bridge a finance gap for a borough leaving Act 47 and needing a new roof. You lose a play space for kids to play after school instead of running the streets getting into trouble. You lose the thousands of dollars a year that U.S. Steel pours into these communities for playgrounds, Christmas parties, and food. U.S. Steel has an opportunity to be better, and the only reason that we're saying no is because it's a foreign company when a few days ago, some of the same elected officials were praising a $1 billion investment. I mean, this isn't about who is purchasing U.S. Steel, it's about egos. People are out here politicizing our poverty in the Mon Valley, and I urge people before they make up their minds about this potential sale, to take a walk through my neighborhood and think of this very moment when we had the opportunity to make global history. Years later, we'll look back at a missed opportunity because of our inability to be open to allyship. You have a company not just promising investment in these plants, but investments in the people. And I know I'm going to get so many people claiming that my take is a bold statement. But you can be pro-union, partnership, and progressive, as I know that the next offer won't be $1 billion investments, less emissions, and partnerships. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sade. Really appreciate you being here as well. Now you're down to me, and so bear with me. I know most of you have to listen to me, or at least a lot of you every day. For those who do not know me, I can't imagine nobody in this crowd that doesn't. I'm Scott Piso. I'm the Senior Vice President and Chief Manufacturing Officer for our North American flat roll facilities, the best steel makers in the world. This deal is really about all of you, but not only all of you, it's about all of our communities where we live and work. You know, personally, Pittsburgh's my home. Professionally, U.S. Steel is my home. And while my 35-year career at U.S. Steel has taken my family and me to incredible cities and countries around the world, I am and always will be from Pittsburgh. I too am a fourth-generation U.S. Steel employee. I was born up the river on Catherine Street in Duquesne. Used to be the heart of the Mon Valley. My great-grandfather, who came here as an immigrant, helped build the blast furnaces at the Duquesne facility, which are no longer standing. Some of my youngest memories are my grandfather and my father, God bless them both, walking and leaving to work and walking down the hill to Duquesne Works. My wife's grandfather worked at the Irvin facility for 40 years. I've also seen firsthand how plant closures of the 80s affected those families, including my own. How was my father going to support 4 kids and a wife without a job? That's across the region. This isn't just a job for me. This is a legacy for my family, as well as many other families in the region. If I'm not wearing orange, I am bleeding U.S. Steel, and I want that to continue for another 125 years. I've also seen firsthand how U.S. Steel supports the livelihood of thousands of employees, enriches the communities where we live and operate, and progresses the security and prosperity of our region, our country, and the world. As you've heard from all of our speakers today, the merger with Nippon Steel only brightens the future for our stakeholders. In the future of Western Pennsylvania will live. The legacy of U.S. Steel will continue, and I think that is great for our region and Pittsburgh. Here's what this merger means. It means a secure future for all our employees and those to come. I am speaking here for those to come. It means $1 billion for a new hot strip mill at the Mon Valley Works. We will be able to make any grade of steel to satisfy any customer and compete in any market. And it ensures the viability of the Mon Valley Works for generations to come. It means a $300 million investment to revamp our number 14 blast furnace at our Gary facility in Indiana. Why is that important? It means that we will still be sending coke from Clairton to Indiana for generations to come. And on top of that, an additional $1.4 billion to be spent at our USW facilities in the next 2 years alone. As the head of our integrated steelmaking operations, I can't remember a time where I felt so optimistic about our future. How long have we been talking about a new hot mill at the Mon Valley? I know since 1990, when I started as a shift manager, we were talking about a new hot mill at the Mon Valley, and this is exactly what we need. But that's not all. With this merger, jobs are protected. No job losses as a result of the transaction. The continuation of a fully funded pension plan which cannot be touched. The same profit-sharing arrangement that we have now that has paid at record levels over the past several years. And all the commitments that are being honored by Nippon Steel in the labor agreement with our represented employees. And thank you all for being here today. It also means that our headquarters, which we are standing outside of, remains right here at the Steel Tower in Pittsburgh. It means more investments in research and development, like our facility at Munhall at the waterfront. It means investment in our future and our region. It's a fantastic opportunity. But it's one that we can only seize if the transaction goes through. U.S. Steel will simply not make these investments if it continues to be a standalone company. I don't want that. You don't want that. Pittsburgh does not want that. U.S. Steel and Nippon Steel are stronger, more secure, and better together. It is time to put politics aside and do what's right for you and all of the other steel workers in Pennsylvania. So let's make sure that we protect our jobs, we protect our communities, and our future. Let's close this deal. We're at a rally. What do we want? We want this deal to close. I appreciate everybody being here today. Again, represented, non-represented, we are all part of the same family. Please, when you're leaving, be extremely safe. Thank you all for coming.